Alrighty, guys. Hello and welcome back to the show. So today we are going to be doing a replay review, older replay. This one was sent in by Morgan Freeman. He sent me two back to back, but wanted to spread them out a little bit. So recording this one today, it's going down on Adaptive Sin, which is a 4v4. This was on the 4v4 ladder recently. Team 1 up at the top, Team 2 down at the bottom. We'll be casting this and offering some tips and tricks as well. So let's go ahead and get into introducing our players. So we'll start with the far western, Morgan Freeman playing as UEF, going first land. His teammate Logan One Kenobi, still a huge fan of this name, who's saying hello there. And he's going Cybran, opening first land. Man, just so many great decisions coming out of this guy. Unfortunately, idle commander now, which isn't necessarily a great decision. Okay, there we go. Ends up fixing it. He had me so happy because he's Cybran and he's making Star Wars references, and then went with his commander idle. Don't do that at the beginning of the game. Next, we've got Dokus, who's going UEF, opening first land, going for his Hydro next. And last but not least, for team number 1, we have Sione, who is going as Cybran, and he is opening first land and got, are those air factories? What are those? Oh, air staging facilities. Okay, I didn't even recognize them from the model. You don't see those very often. Moving on to team number 2, we'll start with the far east. We've got Kamanur. He's going Cybran, opening first land, and actually going for ringing his mexes with power generators. We'll talk about that in a second. Next, we've got Holy Scream, who's going UEF, opening first land. To the west, Prove Hito, who's going to be proving himself, I guess. And he's going first land, second air, third land. And last but not least in the game, we've got Zinko, who's going Seraphim, opening first land, second land, and appears to be third air. So, first off, addressing the elephant in the room, I am not quitting the Forged Alliance Forever community. That was an April Fool's joke that I threw together really quickly. Although I think some people thought I was serious because I lost some subscribers because of that video. Either that or people really just hate April Fool's jokes. But nope, I'm here to stay. I'm not making a transition to Rocket League. I'm god awful at that game. I was trying to think of the competitive game that I am worst at, and it was kind of a toss-up between like any first-person shooter and then Rocket League. So I went with Rocket League. So yeah, anyway, I'm not going anywhere. Don't worry. We're still going to be making Forged Alliance Forever content. For this particular game, we're going to be looking more so at techniques, tips and tricks, rather than casting the game in and of itself. You guys are more than welcome to send me replays. I do it for free. The only thing that I would ask is that you are okay with me posting these replays to YouTube and monetizing the videos. So yeah, I don't want to lock this behind like a Patreon or anything like that. So as long as you're okay with me uploading the videos and monetizing them, then I am perfectly fine doing these for anybody who sends them in, and if people can learn from them. So right off the bat, we've got Morgan Freeman going for naval factories, quite a few of them actually, which is I wouldn't say ideal on this map, just because Navy doesn't really get you a whole lot as far as an advantage over your opponent. The only base that Navy can really threaten, and even then you really have to get to T2, is going to be Kamanur's base here. Most of the other bases, though, far enough inland that even with cruisers, I'm not sure you could reach Zinko's base. And he also has this nice little cliff to hide behind as well. So that might be within range of cruisers, but either way, you know, you're not getting a whole lot of value out of Navy because there aren't channels, you can't restrict enemy movements. And at this point, you know, you've got T1 mexes under assault because you only have one land factory. You're going for your second right now, but okay, you're actually floating a bunch of mass. So, I mean, maybe go for one naval factory, you know, if you want to kind of shut your opponent out of the Navy, but I think that however many this is, 7, 6, too many. It's about 5 too many, maybe 6 too many, a lot of people would argue, for this particular map. Moving to the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which was power generators surrounding mexes. I think that this is something that you see high-level players do on settings where they have build orders and templates and things like that. In a recent, well, not a recent conversation, but on a stream, I was talking with Harzer and I believe, I can't remember if it was Morax or Farms, but they were both kind of like, yeah, it does make a very small difference, but by and large, it's not. It's a real kind of high APM thing to do. I guess if you have a template, it helps out, but it's not necessarily worth it. Maybe I'll go. I need to do a science video on that. I've been wanting to do one for a long time on how much of a difference that actually makes. That can be like a real quick science video I can put together. Maybe I'll do that after this. T2 now inbound for Holy Scream, getting his 4th land factory up. Got 5 land factories there for Provito, and several land factories for Zinco down at the bottom. Only one kind of not investing hugely into land right off the bat would be Kaminur, but he does have some additional land factories queued up. Now, if we flip this to the other side, we have 2 land factories here, 3, and then 3 with, is that T2 Air? T2 Air on the way. So if you combine almost all of Team 1's land factories, you get what essentially one player on Team number 2 has as far as land factories go. And on a map like this where there's, again, good amounts of reclaim, you're going to be giving up just so much map control by not having a good amount of T1 units out on the field. And I think that that's something where, you can play around a land deficit with, point defense, commander upgrades, good commander movement, things like that. But, eventually you're going to get overwhelmed by opposing forces. We've got a lot of labs coming in from Kaminur. One other thing I'm also kind of curious about is labs are, I believe, the most mass per DPS efficient units in the game. I wonder if you can use them to take out an experimental if you have like 2,000 of them. They can take out a GC. I know it works with tanks. If you spawn in, I think it's 600 tanks for a GC. The tanks will win, and it's nowhere close. It's not even close. It's like 450. Like 2/3 of the tanks will survive. It'd be interesting to see if labs can do it as well. But either way, so we got Zinco getting some penetration here with some T1 tanks, and he's now causing Logan 1 Kenobi to have to respond with T1 units because Morgan Freeman has invested so much into Navy, and he's not getting anything out of it. So, we got 2 subs and a frigate that's kind of searching around down here, but there's nothing down here to find, and they would know that if they had just built an air factory and an air scout instead. Instead, you've got these rather expensive kind of scouting parties coming out from the naval side and not really getting a whole lot done as a result. Unfortunately. Yeah, and otherwise, you see kind of a difference in, I think, what Team 1 and Team 2 are doing. Team 1 seems to be more focused on setting up some defensive structures, whereas Team 2 seems to be more focused on taking map control and overwhelming their opponents. Which in this game, with the way that the economy works, it's very difficult to control, a quarter or a third of the map and still win. It is possible, but it's very difficult. So now yellow is fighting orange, and I guess that makes sense because Kaminur's been pretty quiet down here as far as T1 units. He did get a little bit of a run by, but Holy Scream able to get in past a lot of these T1 units, and again, it's just sheer numbers that are winning the game here. And it's a similar story over here for Morgan Freeman. I think Morgan Freeman's actually, nope, he's still working with only 2 land factories. So we got 2 land factories here, and his opponent has got, how many does his opponent have? Got, is that right? I don't know why it's not counting them up for me. I'm blanking. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 total T1 land factories. Not all of them are producing units for the front line, but it's kind of the purpose of them. Doesn't have a comm upgrade either. It's really just throwing everything into his naval units, and that's costing him dearly here. And having to elicit assistance from Logan 1 Kenobi. And if Team 2 is actually communicating, I think, a little bit better here, which there is to some extent from Holy Scream. Holy Scream's now like, okay, Team 1 units have left. Now it's time to bring my units in. And it would be even better if Provehito, I don't even know how to say that name, which he is now, streams in now to Logan 1 Kenobi's base. So there's a domino effect of Morgan Freeman can't produce enough T1 units to hold his side of the bay, to hold his side of the map. And so you've got Logan 1 Kenobi going to help him. Like, let's look at this real quick. So you've got Logan 1 Kenobi shifting units to help Morgan Freeman, and that means that Logan is open to attack from his opponents. And so that's what they are doing. And so now we have Docus, who is now shifting southward to protect his buddy. And so it's this kind of domino effect that's happening, mostly because Logan 1 Kenobi has decided to go for Navy here and hasn't really gotten a whole lot done with it. This all could have been accomplished with an air scout. Like, everything that is happening down here could have been accomplished with 1/50th of the mass. I'm guesstimating there. Okay. Now we got Provehito. Can't say that name to save my life. Now he's crushing Logan 1 Kenobi's T1 units. Logan 1 Kenobi's going to lose some of his forward factories. Team 2 already up by, coming up on 10k here. Total mass accrued. Which is, yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. And I don't know. I know that Team 1, as far as, according to Worgen, these guys are all buddies. So I would imagine they're all on comms together, kind of coordinating. So I'm curious what kind of the overall game plan is here. We have T2 coming in for Docus, and then Logan 1 Kenobi also with a T2 upgrade, using his commander. I will say one thing for team number 1 that they are doing really well is their commanders are involved. Team number 2 seem terrified to use their commanders. So we've got Holy Scream's commander here in the base. Same with Provehito, and Provehito is actually going for T2 power, and is it T2 land? Jeez, that's going to be really tough for Team 1 to deal with. But I think that Team 2, especially these middle players, would have been able to close this out a lot quicker had they been using their commanders up at the front line. And it can be scary, you know, because if you lose your commander, you lose the game. It's kind of the reason why Supreme Commander, the commander in Supreme Commander, is supreme, because he supremely commands every unit that he supremely sees. If you know what I mean. But it is also the most powerful unit that you have in the game right at the beginning. So to not use it as a military unit is a waste. So I will say that team number 1 have done a better job of utilizing their commanders in an offensive, well, actually I would say a defensive capacity, instead of just as a really expensive engineer. But now we do have a Zephamp upgrade coming in for Morgan Freeman, which is good. Zinko, actually, hugely chunky commander with gun, nano, and T2. So Zinko, I think, is one of the only players on team number 2 that I've seen use his commander in, you know, an offensive capacity. And I mean, that makes sense. He's the highest rated on the team, so he's probably a little bit more comfortable with kind of utilizing his commander in that capacity. But Morgan, please just, oh, and he's gone for T2. Okay, well, I mean, honestly, like, you're gonna commit, I guess go all in, but I would just shut down these 5 naval factories, control K them, reclaim the mass, cut your losses. The only thing that's gonna do anything are cruisers, and you only have 1 factory that can produce those. But we do have T2 air coming out from Docus, And I think I saw a T2 air upgrade turning into a T3 air upgrade, as well as a T3 land upgrade. Okay, so Sione going entirely for tech. And he's going for T3 land and air at the same time with 3 T2 mexes. So, yeah, that's right. I can count them here. I forgot. Everybody that's gone down and jackhammered in the comments, like, you forgot to select the selection and storage button. I figured it out. I remembered. But he's going... Anyway, moral of the story here. Going T3 land and T3 air at the same time off of 3 T2 mexes. Anytime you see a number this big... So, and we talked about this a little bit, I think, in the last video, but if you're stalling a little bit, or if you're stalling for a particular upgrade, that's perfectly fine. But stalling nearly or at 100% of your total mass income for something that is not upgrading a mex to T3 is a red flag. Whenever you're looking at this, and you're adding hives, you don't need more build power. You need more mass income. And you've got this. Like, pause these two, finish this upgrade. Don't build these. I think you're even upgrading a hive here. Definitely stop that upgrade. You're trying to do too much right now with not enough mass. You need to take a second, and you're going for a T2 upgrade. Jeez. Okay. You need to take a second, focus on one thing, do that one thing, and then move on to the next thing. And right now, the thing that you need to focus on, talking to Sione here, is mex upgrades. Needs more mass. Okay. Couple of different things that are happening right now. Sorry, my ear's itching a little bit. Had to move my headset. Scratch that. Okay. So Logan 1 Kenobi is getting pushed by T2 units here. These rhinos are an easy overcharge. So for those of you guys that might not know, or are scared to do it, overcharging is not something that you have to do with... Can I select it here? Damn it. Nope, I can't select it. Okay. Overcharging is not something that you have to use a manual command for. It's better to use it on a manual command, because then you can target clumps of units. Manual command there, incidentally, is O. But you can right-click the overcharge icon, and it will just auto-overcharge every time you have power in your inventory, which that's better than nothing. If you don't have the attention span to be able to manually overcharge every single time, just setting it to auto is going to be better than nothing. You're going to waste some energy. You might not have ideal shots, but it's going to be better than not doing it at all. All right. Meanwhile, down at the bottom, Zinko now has T2 land and the mother of all comm upgrades right now. Worgen's still working just with a gun upgrade. And now he has cruisers. But he's using the cruisers incorrectly here. So cruisers are good at taking out stationary targets. They have really, really long range with their cruise missiles, but they're not good at taking out units. So if you're going to be going for these cruisers and going for T2 Navy, what you need to be doing is, instead of using them to try and stop these units, which they're not going to do, you need to send them down here and use them to take out this mex, that mex, see if you can get into his base, send them around the backside, take out these mexes for Kaminer. That's what you need to be doing there. Because these things aren't really going to do a whole lot against moving targets and against units. They might get a kill every now and then, like, there they were able to take out a medium tank. But by and large, that's a pretty heavy investment for not a whole lot of return if you're going to use them this way. And like I said earlier, I would have just not gone for Navy here, but if you were going to go for Navy, you need to do it differently. So cruisers are good at taking out buildings. Send them around down here towards the back of the base, and then start using them to take out these mexes and force him to build TMD back there. Force him to spread out his actions per minute. Okay. Where do we sit now? So we have what I would guess is turning into a pretty chunky T2 army here. Oh, Jesus, there's a lot of rhinos. How many rhinos is that? 18 rhinos. It is an army bred but for one thing: to destroy the world of the Kenobis. unfortunately. I mean, you got some Cerberus here, but however many Cerberus that is, 6 or 7, he can just mobile missile launcher them down. So again, let's look at what Logan 1 Kenobi's eco looks like. Okay, so again, we have another symptom of trying to do too much with your economy at the same time. So it's like, okay, hives, don't build these like until T3. They're even then, I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're that efficient. I can't remember what the efficiency trade-off is, but I think a T3 engineer is more efficient for the build power. But you still got T1 mexes here. Shut down all of your factories. Get these mexes to T2. Get these mexes to T2. Because right now you're stalling more than 200%, 300% sometimes your income. Which again is fine if, you know, it's a temporary kind of thing, but this is not a temporary thing because you're not doing it to invest in more mass. You're doing it to build Cerberus turrets, which are incidentally getting absolutely crushed. And now we have Corsairs coming in over the top. So Logan 1 Kenobi has said hello there for the last time. This game at least. I don't know if he has any flak back here. I don't think so. Are there any fighters anywhere? Nope. Alright, that's it. That's it for the Jedi Master. So I think the theme of this game for team number 1 is lack of land factories and then trying to do too much at the same time. Instead of picking one thing like upgrading your economy, then moving to T2 or the next tier, then attacking, then harass. Like, pick one thing, especially if you're a newer player. You know, as you get more seasoned, there are players out there much better than myself that can do multitasking a little bit better and balance things. But as a new player, the best thing that you can do is pick one thing, focus on that one thing for 2 minutes, and then move on to the next thing. So if that's going to be eco, focus on eco. If that's going to be attacking, focus on attacking. And then gradually, as you get better at the game and start to get a better feel for build orders and things like that, you'll be able to start multitasking a little bit better. Where like you can be attacking and then flip back to your base and upgrade a mech real quick, or build a couple more factories and then go back to microing your units and things like that. So as you get better, these cruisers are still... Is this Ilsheva just on a patrol route to mess with... Okay, I thought this Ilsheva was just patrolling right here to mess with the cruisers. That would have been funny. Is there a unit here? No. No unit there. These are not the units you're looking for. And I don't really think that there is a great way out here for team number 1. I think they're just too far behind the 8 ball. They're down exactly 100,000 mass right now. Cruisers haven't really done a whole lot. Zinko has now gotten into the Navy, so Zinko just kind of rolling in it right now at 136 mass income per tick. Able to commit resources to all sorts of stuff. Well, Morgan Freeman is trying to clean out his base. And even Kaminer now getting into it here. I don't think that this is enough. Cerberus are going to take out the artillery pretty quickly. And I don't think that there's going to be enough to finish the job here. Yeah, taking out that artillery. And actually going after the flak. There's still artillery in here. I'm not sure whether he manually reset that target priority, but I believe Cerberus are supposed to go after artillery and mobile missile launchers as priority number 1, if I'm remembering that correctly. So, if you guys didn't know, that's a good thing to talk about real quick. Each individual, because we have a strap bomb now actually going after Zinko. Multiple strap bombs. So we have 2 T3 air players. Okay, that's too many T3 air players. Yep, and ASF from Profito. Gonna be able to take them down. Anyway, target priorities. Something that newer players might not know about is that each building has a set unit or unit type that it will target first. So if there is a large clump of units here, the Cerberus targeted all of the Medusa, which were the mobile artillery, first. Because I believe point defense are supposed to target kind of in tier order. They're supposed to target artillery first, and then direct fire vehicles, and then I think they're supposed to target AA. I think that's the lowest on the priority chain, if I'm remembering correctly. But every unit type has those target priorities. Like SAMs, I believe, are primarily supposed to target strap bombs before they target ASF. Similar kind of concept. So, and if you guys want to modify those default target priorities, you can get the advanced target is it advanced target priorities or just target priorities? There's a mod that you can get that allows you to reset your target priorities for various units, which I don't use because I don't have the attention span to be able to do it. But a lot of people I know have had some good success with it. As Docus's base now getting overrun, I'm really surprised that Morgan Freeman still even has a base. But that's going to leave Sione as kind of the last player here. And I'm curious if he's fixed his eco problems. Nope, still stalling, over 200%. What is he doing now? What is he doing now? I have absolutely no idea what he could be doing that is... Okay, well, whatever it was, it stopped. Huge reclaim field, though, by the way. You've got... This is a terrible spot for a T3P gen, but that's beside the point. And... Okay. You do have engineers here. Should go grab that reclaim. Just always keep an eye out for these large reclaim fields. They are super important and will allow you to get a leg up on your opponent. So that's going to be Docus now going down to Zinko's humongous calm. My wife and I have been watching Daredevil lately, and this commander reminds me of Wilson Fisk right now, just like a huge tank of a human being or a commander that is not going to be stopped by anything. Great show. If you guys haven't seen it and are looking for something interesting to watch, I highly recommend Daredevil. It's on Disney Plus. Anywho, we'll speed this up a little bit. Game's pretty close to being over, I believe, at least. Large amounts of T2 units coming in from Holy Scream as well as Provito. And Morgan Freeman trying to hit back here. Doesn't necessarily have the tech level, though, to do it. These Ilshivas will chew him up and spit him out. And it's going to be Docus's... The collapse of Docus here, I think, pretty soon. Don't build these. Just don't build these for this reason. I'm not really sure. This must be a template. This looks kind of like something that he's templated out, where it's like, I have, you know, a Cerberus, tactical missile defense in between, and then some SAMs. Morgan Freeman getting taken out by Zinko. Actually getting taken out by torpedo bombers. This looks like a template. If it is, get rid of the artillery on either side of this template. They're not useful. I would say 9 times out of 10, building T2 static artillery is a waste. And Docus now going down to Loyalists as well as strap bombers. Actually, the strap bombers might have gone down. He does have some ASF of his own, but either way, not going to save him. Loyalists moving in. Ba-boom. Okay. Sione gets taken out. I think I might have accidentally called him Docus. Apologies. So let's wrap this up real quick. Moral of the story here for team number 2: use your commanders, please. I don't think that Provito or Holy Scream ever really got their commanders involved. Both of them went for T2 and Ras. That's the most passive commander upgrade that you're going to go for. Even if you go for something super passive like this on your comms, still walk them up early on and just pull them back at about like 8-9 minutes or so whenever you're starting to make the jump to T2. But they're still a huge asset and can give you a leg up on the front line. Team number 1, I think that the two big things to talk about are the choice to go Navy on this map, which I think was a poor decision, and the choice to go, and all of them seem to deprioritize economy. They kind of like would upgrade their economy and upgrade all of their tech levels while building point defense, going for a commander upgrade and trying to produce units. And that's just too much strain on your economy to do all of that at the same time. You need to be kind of focusing. You should always be producing units, but of the others, like a commander upgrade, advancing on tech, going for eco, pick one of them and then go for that one, focus on it, then move on to the next one. So that's it for today, guys. Like I said, sorry that some of you guys thought that I was abandoning the game for Rocket League, but nope, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm still going to be here. Any replays that you want me to take a look at, send them my way. As long as you're okay with me making a video on it and monetizing the video, I don't really care. I'm not going to put this behind a Patreon or anything like that. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.